Welcome back to the Mindful Miri podcast. Today on, sorry.
It's okay.
Welcome back to the Mindful Miri podcast. Today on the show, we have Meghan Gallagher. You just want your first name.
First, it doesn't really matter. You can say both, or you can just say Meghan.
Okay. Today on the show, we have Meghan Gallagher. She's an in-person online nutrition coach specializing in macro tracking and reverse diet. She works for CrossFit Preferred. And I met Meghan, or I got connected with Meghan through her mom, Jean Gallagher. Does she go by Jeannie or Jeannie or Jen? I mean, Jean.
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 Yep.
Okay. The E always throws me off.
You know what? Sorry to go on a tangent, but it's Jean.
No. Yeah.
But also, depending on the type of person, there's certain people that call her Jeannie. So she answers to both, but it's really funny. Like some people just automatically call her Jeannie and some people just call her Jean. So
yeah, I asked her actually, and I couldn't quite remember the answer, but
yeah,
but the E throws me off. And
yes,
it's funny because I kind of feel the same way about Miri. Like it's in my business name.
Yeah.
But it's sort of off-putting when somebody who I don't know very well calls me Miri. I'm like, hey, that's my special name.
Right.
But it's in my title, so I better damn well be okay with people calling me that.
Yeah. Well, and Jean is her middle name. So her first name is Kathy. And so her dad and his side of the family all calls her Kathy.
Oh my gosh,
but
that's so funny.
That's it. And then everybody else, she's always introduced herself as Jean. Everybody else calls her Jean, but for some reason, my grandfather and then all of her siblings and family on his side always call her Kathy.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I have several friends actually that do that. And
yeah.
I think it might be, there's like a Southern explanation of it.
Oh.
And then there's also like a Mexican explanation of it.
Oh,
where
no kidding.
a lot of women are like Maria Dolores, Maria Estefania, or Maria Guadalupe or something, and they go by their middle name instead of being Maria to everybody.
Yeah.
Anyways, we digress. Yeah. We are here today to talk about women, bodies, evolution, wellness, and Meghan and her, evolution, her purpose in the world, and what lights her up. So Meghan, where would you like to start?
So I am a nutrition coach at a CrossFit gym in Gilbert, Arizona. And I got into nutrition coaching because nutrition has always been pretty easy for me. I grew up with my parents were always really good about nutrition and food, and they both are cooks. My dad was a chef for like 30 years. My brother and I grew up in a kitchen. And so it's always been super easy for me. And so getting into nutrition, I was into fitness and I was a personal trainer for a while. And then just the nutrition side of it kind of just clicked. And so I got my cert and was able to, when we moved to Arizona, I was able to get in with a gym and start doing nutrition coaching and starting to kind of just build my business.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
What about nutrition? It sounds like you have this legacy in the kitchen, and you started personal training, but the nutrition has really kept calling to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about it?
So like there's so many different parts to nutrition. There's, looking at food as fuel, where, breaking it down to the macronutrients where, you have carbohydrates, you have fats, and you have proteins. And, carbs are your energy. They help fuel your brain. Fats are your hormones. And then you have protein, that is your metabolic. So for your body to digest protein, it actually burns more calories. So breaking all of that down, it's just kind of something that's always just clicked and been pretty easy for me. And then being able to distinguish, whole foods versus processed and everything like that. I've done a lot of research with the vegan diet, vegetarian. We grew up vegetarian, and now I eat meat and everything. I've had experience with keto, fat adaptation, and stuff like that. So it all just is, I don't know, I feel kind of like a sponge. It just kind of makes sense to me. And I just love learning more about all of it.
Love the way you framed that. I
Thank you.
I've been studying nutrition for over 20 years
Hmm.
myself. I mean, I don't have any certification, but just self-study.
Yeah.
And I was a personal trainer in my 20s, but I feel like I got burnt out on
Hmm.
food talk.
Hmm.
And it's really refreshing to hear that you are a sponge and that you're excited about it.
Yeah.
And so tell me more about that. Tell me, you kind of nodded when I said that I got burnt out on the food talk.
Yeah.
Tell me.
It, it's interesting. So, food, when you're personal training in like a gym, like a Globo gym, they're very much on chicken, rice, and broccoli, fish, rice, and broccoli. Like there's kind of like a food diet that goes around with like bodybuilding and Globo gyms and stuff like that. Whereas I have found in the CrossFit world, it's so different. In the CrossFit world, we went through a phase where paleo was the only way to eat. And then, then keto got super popular. And then now, eating carbs for your workouts. So having gummy worms or Sour Patch Kids or, stuff like that. So like when I was personal training, I personal trained at Crunch in California. And it was like chicken, rice, broccoli. Like that was all that we did. And it gets kind of boring. And like you're trying to, and when I first started personal training, like I knew a little bit about food, just from what I had learned and my experiences, but I hadn't quite done any type of schooling or anything. So just like Googling and YouTube and stuff like that. And, finding the basic stuff that I could, it's hard to suggest to your clients as to the best ways to eat because, it's easy to just say chicken, rice, and broccoli. I mean, protein, fat, protein and carbs and fiber. And so when I started into CrossFit, it really kind of opened my world into all these different diets. And then way back when I first started, if it fits your macros was huge. And that was this huge diet that blew up where you could eat whatever you wanted if it fit. So if I have a set of macros, which are numbers, specific numbers based off of your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. So that's what your body burns doing absolutely nothing. So eating below your BMR kind of slows down your metabolism because it makes your body think that there's no food. It doesn't know when it's going to eat again. So it kind of slows things down. So eating above that keeps it burning, and it's almost like throwing kindling on a fire, just slowly a little bit. So if it fits your macros blew up, that was, you have a set of numbers for protein, for fat, and for carbs to hit in that day. and that equals a total amount of calories for that day. And you could eat whatever you wanted. If you wanted to eat Pop-Tarts, if it fits, you can eat it. And so it was this huge thing that blew up. And then now it's kind of moved into tracking macros. And now it's developed a little bit more where, yes, you can eat whatever you want if it fits, but also it gives you a chance to add things into your diet to see how your body responds to those things. So like I could eat pizza and beer for dinner at night and then go to the gym the next day. I know my body doesn't respond well to that. So I can eat it and then go work out the next day and feel like crap. Or I can eat a full balanced meal with, carbs, protein, and fat, where like some vegetables, some sweet potato or rice or pasta with a meat, and know that the next day in the gym, I'll be able to perform better than if I was to eat, something that was more processed.
Yeah, that's great insight. I've kind of moved into that direction as well, and supported my clients in more of an intuitive approach.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so how did you start going about that? Where you
So
track?
I got into macros right after I had my son. I When I was pregnant with him, I gained a little bit of weight. Uh, I got up to like 210-ish pounds. Um, and so having him, I had lost that initial like 20 pounds, which is like the baby, and then, the placenta and all the water and whatever. So I left the hospital at like 180 pounds, and I was 180 pounds for like 8 months after I had him. And I was so frustrated. And cause I was eating healthy. I was eating all the things that I thought I should be eating. I wasn't eating a lot of processed foods. And I was working out, and granted, for the first couple months, you can't really work out, and then you can slowly start getting into workouts and stuff. But by like 6 months, I was working out and I was feeling good, but my weight wasn't moving, and I was so frustrated and I didn't know what to do. And I had started getting back into CrossFit, and there was this I guess influencer, you could say, that randomly I saw her page, and she had just written a book for I think it was like If It Fits Your Macros 2.0 or something like that. And so I like kind of did some research, and I ended up ordering the book off of Amazon and just read the book and was like, all right, let's do this. And I figured out how to do my own macros, figured out how to do my own macros and kind of put myself through like a cut or whatever. And I started to lose the weight. And so I started to lose the weight, and then I kind of like plateaued a little bit with the weight and like my workouts and everything. And so so the woman who had wrote the book was is Chrissy May Cagney, and she had started her own nutrition company called Black Iron Nutrition. And I had just gotten back into CrossFit, and I wanted to do an Olympic lifting meet, and I needed to drop weight. And so she had just started her company. I needed to drop weight, and I had plateaued. I think I'd gotten myself to the point where I had lost like 15 pounds, but I still had like another 10-ish pounds to go. And so I, reached out to them, and I started working on my macros, and they helped me dial in on that. And I did nutrition with them for a really long time. And it helped me learn more. And the coaches that I had been working with were all super knowledgeable. And so it helped me learn more. And then it helped me want to get my certificate in nutrition and be able to help people who who are in the shoes that I was in. And so I went through all, the CERT program through Precision Nutrition. And then we ended up moving to California to Arizona. And I started working at the CrossFit gym, and the owner, her and I had, she kind of sort of had a nutrition base in the gym, and she was learning how to grow that, and she wanted to do a program to grow it. And she asked me if I would do it with her. And so we went through the schooling with this company called HSN, and they helped us grow our nutrition business and be able to get clients and everything like that on the business side of the nutrition. And it's been amazing.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
It's like it was like kismet with that.
Yeah, it really was.
The owner.
So when I had graduated high school, I was like 200 pounds. I was really heavy. And so then I had gotten really uncomfortable in my body, and I was really heavy for a while. And moving to Florida, I met my now husband, and him and I were both heavier. And we moved out of Florida to California. And it was interesting moving from Florida to California when it comes to diet, going from the South to the West Coast. And we kind of just adapted this healthier lifestyle, and we started working out. We both did P90X together, and we did their horrible meal plan, which was high protein, no fat, and no carbs. So we're eating a lot of protein, and we have no energy because we're not feeding our energy system we're feeding it with protein, and your body doesn't run off of protein. Your body runs off of carbs or fats. And so we did that. And of course he lost a lot of weight, and it took me a little bit longer, but I ended up losing that weight. But then for me, it turned unhealthy, and I got very skinny, unhealthy for a while, until I had gotten laid off from my job, and I needed a job. And so I started looking into personal training. And then that helped me learn more about training and muscle and being strong and eating to be strong. And then it kind of just went into that. So going from being extremely overweight to then being way too small, I understand how uncomfortable it is to be overweight and how unhappy it is to be in your own skin. But then I also understand the struggles of being too thin and not being healthy, but also not being comfortable in your own skin because you still see yourself as fat. And so being able to now look back at all that and being able to understand what some women are going through, and to be able to help them learn that food is fuel. Food helps your body move every day. Food helps you become strong, and it helps you with your hormones, and it helps you, function every single day. And being able to help women learn how to eat food again, and to be able to do what we call a reverse diet, where you're slowly adding more food in each week, and you're watching the weight and making sure that it stays pretty even, and you don't gain. So you'll weigh every morning and keep track of your weight. And then the second you start to see that gain in your weight, then we bring you back to where you weren't gaining, but you're at like the top of the metabolic. So you're eating as much food as your body needs to function every day. And then so being able to bring women back to learning how to eat again that's what I live for. So
That must be so fulfilling.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Food is such a big part of our lives, and
Hmm.
it's not something like, I mean, if you become addicted to it, you
Hmm.
can't just cut it out.
No.
And so learning to live with moderation and really fuel your system in a
Yep.
way that brings you energy and joy and vitality is
Hmm.
huge.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Being able to
Um,
eat a cookie if you want a cookie and not be guilty about it is a big
yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
love the
did a post on my Instagram last weekend because there's a farmer's market out here, and there's a woman at the farmer's market. She makes these cupcakes. They're absolutely amazing. Her name's Marla, and she makes these amazing cupcakes, and she does different flavors each week. And last week she did a pumpkin cupcake, and it was a vanilla cupcake. The center of it was like pumpkin pie. The bottom was like a graham cracker crust. And then the frosting is like this thick. It's very thick. But the frosting was like I think it was like a pumpkin and vanilla. It was absolutely amazing. But my friend and I both wanted one. And so we bought a cupcake and we each had half. And I did a post about how you can track your macros and still eat cupcakes and still being able to learn how to have something like that that's a treat and still be able to eat food the rest of the day. Just because I ate a cupcake doesn't mean I'm not allowed to eat for the rest of the day. Like I still had two other good sized meals. I wasn't hungry at all through the day and I felt satisfied. And I had a cupcake and I had a glass of wine. So,
nothing like wine and dessert. That
yes.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to women who really resist or are triggered by tracking?
Um Tracking is so I do a lot of work with my clients on tracking, but you do not have to track if that's something that is very triggering for you. One thing that I do go over, and also the nutrition program that we do at the gym, one of the big things that we go over is healthy habits. And we do talk a lot about the plate method and intuitive eating. So the plate method, we kind of break it down. So say you have a plate in front of you and filling that plate up, you do half of the plate of non-starchy veggies. So like broccoli or green beans or, stuff like that. And then a quarter of your plate is starchy veggies. So like potatoes, sweet potatoes, you could do rice. And then the other quarter of your plate is protein. And so we teach our clients how to, if they don't want to track, then you start out small, you start out with healthy habits. So for, a month, we work on you drinking water for that month. And, we slowly get you to the point where you're drinking anywhere from 60 to 80 ounces of water throughout your day. And then move on to the next habit, which, adding more veggies in. We really focus on adding things in and not taking things away. So maybe replacing something. So maybe instead of eating half a plate of pasta, maybe you do half pasta and you do half zucchini noodles, but slowly adding in these healthy habits. And that will still give you the results that you're looking for.
I love that. Yeah, I do use the plate method
Yeah.
and it's very helpful. Um, so you shared that you were at a heavy weight at the
Mhm.
end of high school. Can
Yep.
you can you take us back and talk a little bit about your adolescence and kind of the habits or the mindset or the beliefs or the actions that led you to a place where you weren't very comfortable?
Yeah. So I was I was raised in Maine. And so we grew up with a garden. We grew up eating really healthy. I like we always had vegetables on the plate. There was always a protein. Even though we grew up vegetarian, we always had some sort of protein on our plate as well. My brother and I really didn't we never really had soda in the house. Any kind of treats that we had, it wasn't stuff like we didn't have a lot of sweets in our house. We did have stuff like, ice cream and Oreos every once in a while. Um, but I think for me, the biggest thing was soda. So we didn't drink a lot of soda growing up. We could have soda if we had pizza. And sometimes the soda that we had, it was sparkling water with like vanilla syrup, or, it wasn't always like a Pepsi or a Mountain Dew or anything like that. And so when I moved out, um, all of these bad food choices were all of a sudden whatever I wanted. And so I went at it and I drank soda. I drank Mountain Dew every day for a very long time. And I dated a guy who worked for Pizza Hut, and we didn't have a lot of money. So we ate pizza for a couple of years. And I wasn't very, I didn't move around a lot. So I had like the couple jobs that I had, it wasn't, I wasn't always walking around or anything like that. So I was pretty sedentary, and I probably wasn't eating enough. And when I was eating, it was late at night. And it wasn't healthy choices. And I was drinking soda all day long. And so that was definitely how I gained all of that. And then before I moved from Maine to California, or sorry, Maine to Florida, I got a job at a deli in town, and that ended up being a that job like just saved me. That job was amazing. The owners are absolutely amazing. And so I started working for them, and I started working for them just because they needed help for the summer. And in 3 months, I dropped 20 pounds because I was running behind a line, making sandwiches, and then I'm running food up and down the stairs and everything like that. And the weight just fell off. But it also got me into a routine because there was better food choices there. So it got me into a routine of actually eating more and eating healthier. And I started drinking water again and wasn't drinking as much soda. And then so slowly I started kind of losing the weight when I moved to Florida, but my choices weren't always the best. And then moving to California, when the mindset is a little bit different there, I was like, I really want to lose this. Like, I don't feel comfortable in my body. Um, and I think back then I didn't really understand the why behind it. Like back then, the why was I just wanted to be skinny. Um, and so one of the things that we ask our clients when they say they want to lose weight, we ask for the why behind it. Because if you put emotion behind your goal, it makes it more real to you. And so for me, I just wanted to be skinny, but I don't think I really understood, because no matter the number on the scale, I still wasn't happy. Um, and I wasn't happy when I got to my smallest size. I felt like I was kind of, but still when I looked in the mirror, I didn't feel happy at the reflection that was looking back at me. And then I got into um doing P90X, and insanity. And then I got into personal training and got into a gym and started gaining muscle. And that's when I really started to enjoy what was looking back at me. Is I started feeling stronger, and I was able to do a pull up, and I was able to, like, I learned how to back squat. And once I started getting stronger and seeing what my body could do, um that's when I started really looking deeper and really would enjoy what looked back at me in the mirror. I'll never forget. We had bought a grill when we lived in California, and we had to carry this grill, my husband and I, up like 3 flights of stairs, and I couldn't do it. Like, we did it, obviously, but it ended with lots of screaming, and lots of crying on my end. And I was weak. Like, I couldn't help carry something up a bunch of stairs, and I hated that feeling. And so, now being stronger and being able to help with stuff like that, like, that's my why, to be strong. And so, yeah, that's my why.
That's amazing. It
Yeah.
sounds so empowering, and it's it's I know that a lot of women shy away from weightlifting.
Mhm.
But as soon as I started weightlifting when I was 14 for water polo,
Mhm. Yeah.
and I got hooked, man.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was addictive, and I was
Mhm.
so it just you feel so powerful. You're
Yep.
able to do things that you weren't able to do before.
Mhm.
And I mean, even just like moving furniture or like
Yeah.
carrying groceries and things like that are you're one day you just feel like, oh, like this is extra easy all of a
Yeah.
sudden.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's I don't know, I think it kind of I imagine it to be the way that guys think about their body is as very functional,
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
shouldn't say all guys, but my what how I imagine
Mhm.
guys think about their body, they just are functional and they don't care
Yeah.
if you know if they have a beer belly or a flat washboard,
Mhm.
but they have muscle, they use their muscle. And I mean, there's some superficiality there, I'm not saying that there isn't, but just knowing that you're not just meant to be pretty. Like, our
Yes.
purpose is not just being pretty,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's empowering to be strong.
Yeah, it's a point of pride of mine. And I mean, definitely I remember back in my freshman year, I was benching 150 pounds,
That's amazing.
and was the heaviest, had the heaviest bench press out of all the women there, or the
Yeah.
young ladies, I should say. And I was stoked. I was so proud of myself.
Mhm.
But then the other side of the coin was I also wanted to fit into this ideal,
Yeah.
and I very much didn't.
Right.
Um, and I think that it's difficult to reconcile those two things.
It really is. And it doesn't help that there are a lot of there are females out there that um I guess would want to be where you're at but aren't, so then they turn your greatness against you, and that makes it hard too.
Have you experienced that?
um Not really. I I never really had a lot of girlfriends. I have a couple solid girlfriends, but we were always on the rougher side, and I've always just been hung out with guys who's a female too. But so
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Me? No? Um, dang it.
oh, I can
Is
hear
it
you
back?
now.
Okay, I can hear you too.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
gonna leave the chat up.
Okay.
So if you don't hear me, then yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna have you turn off your video
Okay.
and I'll turn off mine too. And we'll hope for the best.
Okay.
The last thing that you said was you hung out with a lot of guys.
Oh, okay. So growing up, it was I have 3 older cousins and they're all boys. And then I have a younger brother. And then we also have we have a younger cousin too. But she's a girl. And so we were all just kind of it was all just her and I and boys. And then through school, I had a couple girlfriends, but in like 5th grade, I had this girl, we were best friends, and then she just stopped talking to me. Like wouldn't acknowledge me.
Hmm.
It was like I didn't exist. And so I think at that point, like I had always just been closer with guys, but at that point was really like, I don't like that. And so I just kind of migrated more towards guys also. And then the same with high school. I don't like any of that petty girl stuff. I kind of just didn't stick around to see any of it. Um,
Hmm.
so there were girls that didn't like me in high school. I got shoulder checked a couple times, but it didn't bother me because I didn't want to be friends with them. It wasn't anything that I felt was necessary in my life. So
Hold
I
on,
didn't
hold
really
on.
see it,
You got
but
shoulder checked by a girl?
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
she used to shoulder check me in the hallways. I don't know. It was weird.
Was she super tough or was she
Yeah, I mean, she did sports and stuff, but
okay,
I
okay.
mean, she was a little bit smaller than me. But yeah, I was kind of ignored it.
What do you think that
Eh,
was about?
I have no clue. I don't. We literally I'm from a super small town, so like
Okay. Okay.
she went to the same school as I did. I think she went to the same school I did, K through 8, but she was a couple years older than me. And so I never really interacted with her. And then in high school, she was obviously a couple years older than me. So we didn't really interact except for passing each other in the hallway. And there were a couple times she'd, pass me in the hallway and shoulder check me and just keep walking. But I'm like, why? I don't even know you.
But you said she
So
was smaller than you?
a little bit,
A
but
little bit? Like
yeah,
in stature, like height?
height wise, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I just
Yeah.
I'm
I
always
don't
so
know.
fascinated by human behavior.
I know. I don't know. So
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
that's fine. It was so yeah, I just kind of I don't know. The couple female friends that I had, we had our group. We had a really strong friend group in high school. Um and but I mean for females out of it, there was probably like maybe 4 of us there's probably a total of 20 people altogether and there's like maybe 4 females.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so I've always just been more comfortable around guys. So I never really saw it personally, but I saw it like, watching how people are with each other in the school. And then also like even growing up, like even in the workplace, like I worked at when I was like 16, 17. I worked at a bar as a hostess. It was like a restaurant bar. But it was the place to work. And so a lot of the people that worked there were, part of that crowd that were always popular in high school. And the waitresses didn't like me, and I knew they really didn't. But it was whatever. I was there to work. I wasn't there to, be petty. So, but I see it a lot. My son he's 8 years old, and he has a really close friend who has a sister who's a couple years older than them, and I adore her. She's so sweet, and I see her going through that because she just started playing football, and she loves it. And her friends, when she started playing football, her friends stopped talking to her, and it was really hard on her. And like I see that like underlining bullying that they're doing to her, and like it's so mean and it's so uncalled for.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old is she?
She's probably she's in 5th grade. She's in
Okay.
5th grade.
Okay. I guess that's the age where they start,
Yeah.
getting sort of prissy and like
Mhm.
more into girl things and things like that. So I can understand like not wanting to join if a friend joined, you
Yeah.
know, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine pulling a friend down or pulling away from a friend because of
Yeah.
a leisure activity,
Right. Yeah. And she's good at football too. Like, so I always try, because I see that she goes through it. I always try to like, praise her on what, how she did at football, and, the stuff that she's doing. And, you know, I try to praise her because I know how those voices from the mean kids in class can get into your head.
Well, and she's a badass.
Oh, hell yeah.
I imagine it's not a girls' team.
No, it's a
No,
co-ed
it's
team. Yeah.
co-ed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to have the balls,
Yeah.
excuse my pun,
Right.
have the balls to go out on a boys' team and be
Yeah.
probably the only girl.
Yeah.
Like, more power to you, sister. You're going to be a
Yeah.
leader in the community.
Yep. And she killed it. She had her first game. Unfortunately, her football games are the same day as Ben's football games, and they are playing in 2 separate towns. So we weren't able to watch, but I was talking to her dad about it because I see him every Monday morning at drop off. And she like caught 2 interceptions. Like she freaking killed it. And
Wow.
yeah, she's amazing. And so I always try to like, you know, praise her, and just because girls are nasty, and it can get in your head.
Oh, that makes me really sad.
Yeah, same.
I think that we need to send the message that, we should be rise by lifting others.
Totally.
That's always going to be.
It's hard to be a female, and then to add like female bullying on top of it.
Yeah, the relational bullying is really,
Yeah.
it's hard to deal with it because it's not direct where you can just hash it out and then cry.
Right.
It's this underhanded bullshit,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you never know what you did or where you stand, or
Yep.
and it's really about, in my opinion or in my experience, being scared to confront somebody and use your words.
Totally. Yeah. And especially nowadays where social media is so big, and it's so easy to be an online bully, and
For
not have the
sure.
balls to say it to someone's face.
Yeah. And we have this when we think we're anonymous,
Yeah.
we are much less filtered
Yes. Totally.
and a lot less empathic. So we're not even thinking about, oh, how could this affect this person? And that's
Totally.
why we're seeing, bullying contributing to suicidal attempts.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yep.
How can we use technology for good?
I know.
Empowering women,
Yeah.
empowering women. That's what
e-
it's got to be.
Exactly.
Humans empowering humans.
Yep. I agree.
What would you go back and tell your younger self, or maybe maybe this football playing girl is a a little shadow of yourself, what
Yeah.
would you go back and tell her?
Um, that looks don't matter. That, just focusing on being a good person and being true to yourself and looking deeper into yourself on what makes you happy and what, thinking that being skinnier makes everything better, there's so much more to you than how you look on the outside.
Yeah, beautifully said. Beautifully said. It's hard because everything that we're inundated with says the opposite. It
Yes.
says judge the book by the cover, be pretty,
Hmm.
and then on top of that there's this um in psychology it's called the halo effect, where you think that if somebody is good looking or good at one thing, that they are a good human all around,
Right.
that they're good at everything.
Yes.
And so you we have this bias that good looking people are smarter, better at things,
Hmm.
have things easier somehow, and it's really not true. We're all a hot mess.
Oh, yeah. Yes, so true.
Especially those who look put together.
Yeah. Yes.
Myself included when I do look put together.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes the times that I look put together are the times that I'm a hotter mess than normal.
I know, I'm making up for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I put mascara on today because I have been having a rough morning and I needed to feel pretty. Like,
Yeah, I'll wear my cutest outfit when I'm having a rough day just to make myself feel better.
exactly. Totally. Yep.
So it sounds like you've really come far in your body love and your body evolution. Where else would you like to grow? In which areas, or in what kinds of beliefs and relationship to your body? How else would you like to grow?
Um, well, being able to, it's really cool to see like what your body can do. Um, and I'm learning about hormones and like how important it is to kind of keep check on what your hormones are doing, and how important they are to your body functioning. Um, and so, really trying to, learn more about that and kind of healing myself in that way. Um, and then I've kind of steered a little bit more into like Olympic weightlifting and like bodybuilding
Yeah.
type stuff, and
Yeah.
learning more about that and how my body kind of responds to that. Um, but also, being able to grow, my business and help, grow our business, our nutrition business out of the gym. We've just been going through this new uh like business type schooling thing that we've been doing, and we're learning more deeper into like reverse diet and stuff like that, and just being able to for us to grow our business and help more people and be able to expand more outside of the gym, instead of, we have a lot of clients within the gym, but being able to get more clients outside of the gym and help more people.
Awesome. Wonderful. Love it. This is a good place for us to come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
And in my body freedom for busy women, in my body freedom for busy women
Mm-hmm.
community, we talk about body freedom as feeling light, healthy, confident, and
Mm-hmm.
free. What do you think body freedom means to you?
Um, being able to love yourself and your body in whatever season your body may be in at the moment. um Being able to look at yourself in the mirror and smile and be comfortable with and confident with who you are and how you look and the strength you have and the people you have around you for your support system.
Beautifully said. And I love what you said earlier about liking what you saw. I don't know how you phrased it, but you said something about liking what you saw in the mirror.
Yeah.
Say that again for me.
So being able to look at yourself in the mirror and love what you see.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes. Beautifully said. Megan, it's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
How can our community find out more about you?
You can check out my Instagram. It is Megan and 04 on
Okay.
Instagram.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll
And
have a
then
link to that.
also
Uh-huh.
the link to the nutrition coaching that I'm doing with CrossFit Preferred as well.
Wonderful. And that's at crossfitpreferred.com.
.com. Yep.
And it's available virtual if you're not in Arizona, correct?
Yes. Yep. We do in person, and we also do online nutrition coaching.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. You've been a wealth of knowledge and insight and just passion. And um, it's been an honor talking to you.
It's been so here, let me turn my thing on.
Yeah.
It's been great talking to you too.
Awesome.